We have an MS Now exclusive that just dropped. The Pentagon has ordered active duty soldiers with a military police unit stationed in North Carolina to prepare for possible deployment to Minneapolis. That's what 3 people familiar with the matter told me and my colleague David Rode. A prepare to deploy order was issued yesterday for members of the Army's 16th Military Police Brigade stationed at Fort Bragg. And at least a few hundred of these soldiers, about 300 to 500, are being prepared for this possible mobilization. The people who spoke to us talked to us anonymously, given the sensitive nature of the deployments. Now, a Pentagon official didn't deny our reporting, but the official said, "We have nothing to announce at this time, and any tip about this is pre-decisional." These soldiers out of Fort Bragg are in addition to the soldiers that are also being prepared to deploy out of Alaska. And those soldiers are a part of the Army's 11th Airborne Division. Now, all of this comes as President Trump is increasingly, repeatedly threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone. Peace and blessing salutations, Yahweh Bahashem Shai, Barakathum, to you sincere Akim, noise in this gospel abroad, keeping the faith and testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, and to the few sincere Akwath that listen and learn, to you I say Shalom. So I'm going to try to make this lesson as quick and edifying to the point as possible because my phone's running out of juice and I ain't got my charger. All right, so with that being said, you see here, Pentagon is readying more troops for possible Minneapolis deployment. And of course, this is in the midst of Trump and also Elon Musk. You know, he made a tweet that said it's time to implement the Insurrection Act. Okay, so these devils, man, you know, as it says in Revelation 12:12, the devil shall come unto you with great wrath, for he know that he has a short time. All right, so the way Esau is moving right now, which we showed you that he's pretty much declared war on the American citizen. All right, remember, I believe it was Stephen Miller that said it, that we must deal with the enemy from within, or maybe that was Trump. Salakia, yeah, it was Trump. Trump said that we must deal with the enemy from within. Who was he talking about? He was talking about you common everyday Americans, all right? Well, and especially you Israelites, okay, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know what I'm saying? That's really the main target, you see? So it's a whole lot going on. There's rumors of America, going in to strike Iran, this coming weekend. You got a major blizzard that's about to hit the East Coast, you know what I'm saying, and down south and things of that nature. We're on the cusp of an economic collapse, of a martial law state, you see. So there's a whole lot going on that's coming down the pipe, and it's not going to get better. Things are only going to get more out of control because ultimately this is the will of Yahweh Bahashem Shai. So we can just tap into some of this. Pentagon orders more active duty soldiers to ready for possible Minneapolis deployment. The department has issued a prepare to deploy order, which if they're issuing a prepare to deploy order, that basically means that they about to be sent out any day now. Okay, but this is just coming out today for an Army military police brigade stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The Pentagon has ordered active duty military police soldiers based in North Carolina to prepare for possible deployment to Minneapolis. 3 people familiar with the matter told MS Now. A prepare to deploy order was issued yesterday for members of an Army military police brigade stationed at Fort Bragg. At least a few hundred soldiers are being prepared for the possible mobilization to Minneapolis, 2 of the people said. The possible infusion of military police is in addition to the Pentagon orders last Friday that 2 battalions with the Army's 11th Airborne Division prepared to deploy. The 11th Airborne is stationed in Alaska and specializes in winter weather conditions. Each infantry battalion has at least 500 soldiers. All right. So again, Esau, he's coming down with it. Okay, we're already living in a police state. He's pretty much been given full immunity. These devils have given ICE full immunity to pretty much deal with the American citizen however that they see fit. So you know, we in that time where we're definitely in the beginning of our sorrows, and yeah, there's about to be a lot of heads, you know, being you know, put to the pavement. You know, very soon it's going to be a lot of doors being kicked in. All right, because these devils are also going to crack down on freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? They really already are. You know what I'm saying? There was a there was a woman. You know, she was on a she was you know, making a statement, pretty much berating Trump on live TV, and you know, the police came up and arrested her right there on the spot and took her in. All right, so Esau, he wanted you to see that because he's sending a message like, look, ain't nobody in this NWO about to speak out against nothing. Okay, either you gonna be with it or we gonna put you down. All right, that's what type of time that these devils are on, man. And furthermore, that's why they got all these detention centers and camps built in America. All right, that's not for no foreign enemy. That's for you common everyday Americans. All right, because when they really, you know, crack down and you know, come out and do what they got to do, all right, you gonna be on the chopping block, period, man. You see? And then all these troops being sent out, this is the clear declaration of war and a undermining of your rights, which really, by this point now, you know what I'm saying, these Americans have no rights, okay? Because all of this that's being done is violating the rights of the Constitution, violating the rights of the common American citizen. But see, these people are so damn docile, you know, so full of themselves, that they're not going to rise up, you know. They're not going to do nothing about it. And that's why Esau's moving the way that he's moving, because he knows that. All right. So then when you get this article here, this is from the People's Voice. Australia passes bill authorizing police to arrest citizens who post misinformation online. All right. Now, we've really been seeing since like 2020 that Australia, they've been heavily draconian. Like, I remember in the very beginning of the pandemic, they was out there literally throwing people into camps, you know what I'm saying, that was resisting to take the JAB, you know what I'm saying, that was speaking out against the you know what. Okay, they was really rounding people up, coming to their houses, man, you know, taking them out and throwing them into camps and detaining them. All right, so Australia, you know, they pretty much set the precedent for the whole pandemic. All right, and you know, they you know, they can do that out there because the people don't got no guns and they really don't have no rights like that. All right, so that's pretty much an authoritarian state. That's an example of, you know, how they want the rest of the West to be in this NWO. So you see that these devils are coming down hard, man. Okay, and brothers have had visions about this to where, you know, they've seen troops, you know, going to people's houses, you know what I'm saying, throwing them out, you know, just violently arresting people, man. These are times we coming into 2026, as we told you through the spirit, man. This is going to be a very heavy year of some hardcore judgment. You see, and furthermore, you got to understand that Esau, he's the sword of the Most High. Okay, he is the instrument of judgment used by Yahweh Bashman Shai to punish the wicked. Okay, so it's not Esau that you should fear, it's Yahweh Bashman Shai. You know what I'm saying? And we do these lessons for you, sincere Aki Menakwath. You know what I'm saying, to drive you to repentance, you know what I'm saying, because ultimately this is the Lord's judgment that's coming down. You know what I'm saying? The Lord controls Esau. Esau not just doing what he want to do on his own strength and power. Okay, nothing happens on the earth unless the Lord wanted it to happen. So the fact that Esau moving like this and all this you know, rhetoric and talk that he's been coming out with, that's really the Lord speaking through this damn devil, okay, on the left hand side. All right, because the Lord, he controls the good and the evil, you see. But yeah, this is how these devils are moving. All right, so you already know who this is really going to be aimed at, because this is going to come to America, man. Okay, this is going to come to America. This is going to come to really the whole world. All right, and in other nations as well, they're doing the same thing. Okay, I remember some years ago out there in Philippines, like they was doing the same thing, like they was locking people up for having certain talking points, man. So how much more here in America? All right, where the small hats, they really run shit. All right. And you already know that there's an anti-Sem narrative out there, okay, to where you can't speak against them. But who are the main ones speaking against them and speaking against this current kingdom, man? Well, it's the men of the Lord, all right? So you already know that they're going to roll, all right? They're going to put, you know, false narratives and propaganda out there to, you know, justify taking brothers off the streets, shutting down the internet, demonizing certain talking points, all these things are about to become reality very soon. And on top of that, they're going to use military force, as you see, to enforce these measures. All right. So this is, this NWO that Esau's coming with, this is a very brutal form of a rule. Okay. Because before he tried to, go the so-called diplomatic route to where, he would go through the Congress and, he would go, by the so-called legal process. This devil's saying to hell with that now. Okay, now we just straight up putting the sword to you. All right, that's what time we in, man. See, we're in a time where the sword is at the front and center. Okay, that's the theme of the times right now, man. The sword. Okay, the Australian Parliament has passed 2 new bills that will set up a national gun buyback scheme and authorize police to arrest citizens who post, quote, hate speech or misinformation online. Now, what is hate speech and misinformation to the devil? Well, it's the truth. Okay, anything that goes against their narrative, they're going to deem it as hate speech and misinformation online. All right, and you got a taste of that during the PDZ. Okay, where anybody that came out with a counter talking point to stand 6 feet and we need to stop the spread and the juice is good for you. And, anybody that came out with a counter narrative to that and exposed the facts, they were labeled misinformation. Okay, so this is the policy that Esau is rolling out, that he is going to roll out to the rest of the collective West. All right, so it says here, in Australia's lower house, the gun buyback bill passed 96-45, with the Liberal National Coalition opposing, while the hate and extremism focused bill passed with amendments, securing 116 votes to just 7. Later on the evening of January 20th, both bills made it through the Senate. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese wrote on X that the government was, quote, standing against hate and strengthening national security. And see, that's why the scriptures say that the joy of the hypocrite is before a moment, man, because who spreads more hate? You know what I'm saying? Who spreads more hate on the earth than Esau Edom? All right, but now he's coming in, all right, trying to be the hero, you know what I'm saying, and also play the victim at the same time and say, oh, we need to do this because we care about people's feelings. We can't have online hate speech. People are suffering behind this, right? That's what this devil is saying, man. But he's the very one that's forwarding the hate. All right, he's the very one that's forwarding the confusion, the violence, the hate speech. You know what I'm saying? And as much hate speech as Esau has said, at the Israelites over the years, man, he has no room to speak. But again, we're dealing with a hypocrite, all right? And the Lord about to take this hypocrite out the way. All right, his ass need to be put down, man. All right, his mouth needs to be stopped. The Combating Anti-Sem, Hate and Extremism, Firearms and Custom Laws Bill 2026 introduces not only the national gun buyback scheme, but new restrictions around background checks, the sale of firearm types, and new offenses relating to accessing information online about firearms, ammunition, and accessories. And keep in mind that they just banned social media. I think if you're 15 and under, now they ban social media. All right, which they just started with that. You know what I'm saying? But they're going to ban social media, period. You know what I'm saying? And really how they're going to run it is you're going to have to get a digital ID, all right? Or else you're not going to be able to access the internet at all. Okay, that's really where they're about to go with this thing, man. But they just do it with gradualism, you know what I'm saying? They just bring these things in little by little, just creeping into the point where it's like, okay, now we got to drop the hammer on these people. You know what I'm saying? So the internet about to get shut down soon. Anybody that has a counter talking point to the mainstream narrative that Esau puts out there, you're basically going to be demonized. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, these are things that are going on amongst many other things, man. But, you know what I'm saying? Yahweh Shema Shai is making his moves, okay? And see, Esau don't understand that the more that he goes to pass these laws and do all this bullshit that he's doing, the closer he gets to his end, okay? Because all of what he's doing is fulfilling prophecy, so even though he's trying to run from prophecy, because you'll notice that he'll, pass certain laws, and then he'll, like, he won't really act on it right away. He'll kind of, just play it back for a while, but, eventually he moves back into it because the Lord forces his hand. The Lord put his spirit on him to make the move. You see, but Esau knows that his end is near, and that's why he's coming down with this, great wrath. All right, but this is all, going to lead to a man being made an offender for a word, the famine of the word. All right, we can get that in Amos. Amos 8 and 11. Amos chapter 8 and verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh Bashmel Shai. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. All right, so we in that time to where we see these devils are making these moves to pretty much, outlaw free speech. And this is going to lead to the famine of hearing the words of Yahweh Bashmel Shai. So this gospel, this is to let you know that, this ministry is almost accomplished, man. Okay, that the warning has gone out. People have heard the word, and now the end is here. So it's not going to be too much more speaking and reproving. The time for that is coming to an end. And you see that that's the case by, the way that Esau is moving right now. Just the law he's putting on the books. That this thing is about to come into fruition. But yeah, a famine of the word, man. Okay, this devil, he going to outlaw the Bible. He going to outlaw biblical talking points. He's going to pretty much outlaw anything that goes against his narrative of Satanism. All right, because that's what really they about to do. All right, these devils are about to implement the tenets of Satanism into the planet Earth hardcore. And if you ain't with that, then they going to do away with you, period. Let's get that in the NLT. Amos 8 and 11 in the NLT. The time is surely coming, says the sovereign Lord, when I will send a famine on the land, not a famine of bread or water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. People will stagger from sea to sea and wander from border to border, searching for the word of the Lord, but they will not find it. Okay, and that's all those in this time now who are not taking heed to the warning of the prophets. In a very short time, people are, it's going to be so much hell going on the earth. It's going to be so much confusion that people going to remember, damn, those Hebrew Israelites. Hey, look, people going to remember the Hebrew Israelites, man. The same very ones that they scoffed and, talked all this shit. They, these people are going to be looking for those same very men. And guess what? In that day, they not going to find it. And ultimately, the Lord is going to have it to where, our tongue is going to cleave to the roof of our mouth. Okay, to where even if you do find, a prophet, it's not going to be the time to where the word is going to be going out. All right. So that shows you that mercy is being cut off, man, that the doors of mercy are closing. You see? Good Revelation 12, because even Esau's laws, that's also part of his great wrath. Like this nigga Trump just put through 2 new executive orders yesterday. All right. So every time you look up, these goddamn devils are sounding in some new executive order to forward their wickedness on the earth. Revelation 12 and 12 in the NLT. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, O heavens, and you who live in the heavens. Rejoice, but terror will come on the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great anger, knowing that he has little time. All right. And ultimately we know that he's ultimately coming for the remnant. He's coming for the elect of Israel. Okay. When you get verse 17, it says, and the dragon was angry at the woman and declared war against the rest of her children. All right. You see what's going on with ICE right now, to where Esau pretty much gave full immunity to them to do what he will to the so-called brown people. Basically the Israelites is who he got his eyes on, and even down to his own people. But the main target are you jakes, and the dragon was angry at the woman and declared war against the rest of her children, all who keep Yahweh's commandments and maintain their testimony of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Then the dragon took its stand on the shore beside the sea. So the dragon Esau, all right, he's coming down. You see, because he knows that it's over. This is pretty much his last ditch attempt to hold on to some kind of power. You know what I'm saying? To hold on to his hegemony, man. As it says in Psalms, why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? The elder Yashawama, did a news and prophecy yesterday with that devil, Yuval Harari. You know what I'm saying? To where he was on stage just talking just all kind of madness and talking about some AI and now AI can think for itself and you can make AI a citizen and Hindu gods in court, man, what the fuck is this dude talking about, man? You know what I'm saying? But that's what type of time that these devils are on. They're just completely out there, like they're raging. It's like they're in a spirit to where what they're doing don't even make sense, but they're in the spirit to do it because they got to fulfill prophecy. And that's what time we in, because what Esau's doing, it don't make no goddamn sense. He's basically self-destructing on himself, but he can't help it because he has to fulfill the words of Yahweh Bashim Rashad. That's just what it is. So yeah, we here, and it's only going to get worse because these devils are not going to stop. They're going to keep passing more wicked laws, which pretty much all of Esau's laws are wicked. I'm saying, like, you can't name one law from Esau that's really righteous. You know what I'm saying? It's founded on, some type of, what Yahweh Bashim Rashad wants. You know what I'm saying? But all these laws that he's doing is all set up to undermine you. You know what I'm saying? It's really all set up to destroy you at the end of the day. All right? Because, this man is he's the vessel of wrath, fitted for destruction, man. So that's all he's bringing on the earth is nothing but wrath, So I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Lord willing, let's edify through Rakah Kedash, call law Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakah Kedash. Until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kwam Yashala, Wa Bible Ball, shalom.